Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in. Today, we're going to be talking about Bitcoin and the state of altcoins. I've done this kind of video before. I guess you can call this part four. I think I have two or three videos um, on this very subject, and I'd like to keep it going, especially during this time where Bitcoin is at $58,000, and with everyone holding a pretty good position in altcoins as well. I assume this is some good info for everyone in the space, whether they hold Bitcoin or they hold altcoins or both. I think you could find some pretty good value in it. Let's go ahead and take a look. We'll start with Bitcoin. Bitcoin's obviously again at $58,000. It's up 1.2% for the day. We are above the 20-day moving average. The 20-day moving average is 53,831. So we're roughly $4 or $5,000 above the 20-day moving average. For the past I guess 30 days or so. So since March of 2021, we've been range bound between $60,000 and as low as $45,000. That's a pretty big range, but here we are. We came from the local top of 57, retraced back down to 44, 45, and we rallied all the way up to $60,000. So another rallied $15,000 all the way up to $60,000, retraced back down to close to the 20-day to $53,000, and then here we are at 58. So if history is if we are to continue this pattern, then we should be retracing here. But I think with Bitcoin at the very least, it can bullishness can really switch on, and we can go into price discovery mode relatively quickly. So I wouldn't want to necessarily rule that out. Having Bitcoin drop from here is not a given. In fact, nothing is a given, at least in this space. So with that said, it's kind of just the time will tell. Let's see how Bitcoin plays out for the next few weeks to see where we are there. But for the most part, we are pretty much where we were, a few days ago here at this level at the 13th of March, and coincidentally here in February. Like we're at that level. So we've been here for 30 days. We can stay here longer than 30 days, or we can or it can drop or go up. There's nothing indicating one to the other just yet in terms of the price of the US dollar value of Bitcoin. Um, One thing to keep note of, I think, is taking a look at bond yields. Bond yields do have, some kind of effect on stocks, which I think in turn has an effect on Bitcoin. If stock prices are plummeting, um, or getting stagnant, then that's not. I don't think that's very good for Bitcoin as a whole. I mean, Bitcoin can definitely push through, but I wouldn't necessarily keep Bitcoin separate from other assets. Um, in terms of the general asset market. A lot of people will say that Bitcoin is separate from that, but as we've seen in the March crash of last year, everything dropped. Gold dropped, Bitcoin dropped, stocks dropped. So Bitcoin is not sheltered from those risks. If that were to happen with the general market, Bitcoin will be affected too. And I only mention that because the stock market, the S&P 500, has not been doing all the best. I mean, this week it's down 1.4. Today is down 1.48%. Um, a few days ago it was at 3,700. Uh, we see large tech stocks like Apple struggling to make new highs. I mean, it's at $120. It's broken the 20-day moving average. I think it's at the 20-week moving average. Or sorry, no, it's below still. It broke through it a few weeks ago. So, major stocks are struggling. But Bitcoin's doing fine as of right now, so not too much of a concern. But it's good to keep an eye on the general stock market, one of the larger asset classes in the space, because I think there's an indirect effect with Bitcoin. Because obviously, if people are pulling out their money in stocks, odds are they're going to be pulling their money out of Bitcoin too, because Bitcoin's higher risk. They're going to want to de-risk their positions, and so if they do own Bitcoin and stocks, well, they're gonna liquidate both. But I don't think that's too much of a concern now. Just something to keep in mind. When we look at the weekly on Bitcoin, um, still looks extremely bullish. I mean, we're like 70% above the 20-week moving average. Let's take a look here. We're at 69.96. Yeah, we're at 70% above the 20-week moving average. Things are still extremely bullish. Um, you know, fun fact, I mean, ever since December, we have never been lower than 60% above the 20-week moving average. Okay, that's the lowest, that's the closest we've gotten to the 20-week moving average on a weekly basis. So that's pretty interesting to see. Um, and we've gone as high as, as of now, 124%. But we've never been below 60, which I think is fairly interesting and something to keep in mind. But with that said, the weekly Bitcoin chart, bullish as can be. Um, we can see that Bitcoin is we see that range bound that we see on the 20-day fairly clearly, but it's starting to look more clear on the weekly chart. So um, that's something else to keep in mind. We could see like what we saw in the summer of 2020, where Bitcoin starts to lower its volatility, maybe get into some range bound, some sideways movement action, and if that's the case, then that's very good for altcoins. When we look at the RSI is still fairly high on the monthly chart. I do look at Bitcoin's RSI levels on the monthly, and not so much in any other time format, and it's still relatively high. We're at 91.67. We won't get a close, like we won't get a fixed number. It's going to keep on changing every day until the end of March, obviously. But to keep in mind, we're at 91.68. We're still in the upper bound regions. I mean, look, we're just a sneeze away. So we're not out of the woods yet. If Bitcoin decides to increase the rally, I mean it's up 30% for the month of March. If it puts another month like this, then we can see ourselves getting to the 96 RSI level and potentially um, seeing a larger correction looming towards. However, that could happen now, for all we know. Um, Again, if it does decide to move sideways, then obviously the RSI will drop. But we haven't seen that happen in months. We're now in our sixth green monthly candle, and I don't think we've seen that for a very long time. So during 2017, the longest was 5 months. I think, yeah, I think it was in 2013, 2020, 2012 is where we saw a 6+ monthly green streak. So from November of 2012 to April 2013, all green monthly candles, making it one of the longer stretches of bullishness in Bitcoin. And so, we're seeing that today, where we're in our sixth green monthly candle. Moving towards the dominance. The dominance has been quite interesting. If I flip it to the week to the daily, you get to see where we have been, what we have been doing for the number of 30 days. We've been range bound, and I've talked about this before. We've been in between the 63 and 60% dominance range, and we're kind of just holding steady here. I mean, we're down, a third of a percent today, or 22.22 percentage points on the Bitcoin dominance. What's more importantly, I think, is on the weekly chart. And we've been tracking the 140-week moving average, which um, has been support in the last altcoin bubble of the summer, as well as showing some resistance during the Bitcoin rally of 2019. And here we are again at that level. We're currently right now below it. And so I think this is one of the more important moments in Bitcoin dominance chart, where last week we broke up, but the week before we broke down. So Bitcoin dominance is having a real hard time deciding what side of the fence it wants to stay on. And with that said, I'm not going to speculate on whether it's going to go up or down. I think it's going to go down. I hope it's going to go down because I want all coins to be continue the bullish rallies. But time will tell where Bitcoin dominance decides to stay on which side. Uh, if we're able to maintain altcoin bullishness, if Bitcoin's able to not you know crap the bed and or start going into price discovery, uh, that makes me think that altcoins still have a chance of rallying fairly significantly, outpacing Bitcoin. And that's kind of like what I'm hoping here. However, it's going to be hard to say. The 140-week moving average is currently at 62.13, and we're currently at 61.71. So we're talking fractions of a percentage point here, um, and it's going to be really hard to tell. Keep an eye on this chart, you guys, because any major break to either side can indicate um, either that reversal or the continuation of the breakdown. And if we are continuing the breakdown, look to your altcoin positions because they're probably rallying. And so that kind of leads to the conclusion here. Bitcoin is in a very precarious position. The risk on it is extremely high. We haven't seen a correction in a very long time. We haven't made contact with the 20-week. There's a lot of reasons why a a correction at this point makes sense. At the same time, I look at altcoins and I say, there's certain altcoins like Ethereum, for like Ethereum's the biggest example, where I think the current price of Ethereum in relation to Bitcoin is extremely low. That could indicate you could take that as a buying opportunity. You could take that as a bearish perspective. I take it as a buying opportunity. The risk is low on Ethereum. I already have a good chunk of Ethereum already in, but I have been, um, when I've been selling my other altcoin positions, some of it's going back into Ethereum. And so, in a sense, I've been accumulating at this level. But with that said, if we do see a major correction from Bitcoin, then altcoins are going to bleed even more, which is something that we don't want. And so that's why I say it's in a precarious position because altcoins still have a lot of room to grow, at least in the short term, I think. At the same time, Bitcoin's extremely overextended. So we'll see what happens. Like both can happen, right? We could see a correction and we can see altcoins rally to new highs to a level that is um, fair in relation to Bitcoin. Like we could see both happen. The problem is we just don't know the order. We could see Bitcoin cool off for now, and then we see altcoins rally, and then we see a dump from Bitcoin, or we can see Bitcoin dump, and when it recovers, that recovery there is the switch that or catalyst that altcoins need because they're going to recover a lot quicker and outpace Bitcoin at that point. So you could see both scenarios fulfill the two things that I'm talking about, a correction and an altcoin rally, or altcoins gaining momentum that is in a fair valuation against Bitcoin. But the problem is we don't know the timing. And that's why I'm not trading at these levels. I'm not making any big changes to my portfolio. I am keeping on with my regimen of selling as it continues to go up. In this case, when I've been selling uh, my positions back into stablecoins, Ethereum, and Bitcoin. Like that's what I've been doing. I've been doing that with Basic Attention Token. Been doing that with VeChain. Did that with Uniswap with a small amount. Did that with Link when it rallied in January. Um, I mean, like those things. Uh, I have been consistently doing, and so that doesn't try to time the market. I'm not I'm not leaning on one side or the other of a scenario of a timeline. Um, I am just, uh, selling as it goes up and rolling with the punches of whatever comes at me. And I think that's for me the best way to handle this market. So that if Bitcoin continues to rally, great, I'll sell my Bitcoin. If altcoins continue to rally, then great, I will sell my altcoin positions. If Bitcoin dumps, well, I have a pretty good chunk of my position in still. I have a good chunk in stablecoins, so I can reaccumulate my positions, and I have a good chunk in Bitcoin, so my portfolio isn't going to take the worst hit in the world. So prepare for everything, prepare for every major scenario, and you should come out just fine. Um, but that's pretty much it for today, you guys. The state of Bitcoin right now is, um, we'll see how it goes, because at this level, it's really hard to say. With altcoins, we hope that the bullishness in altcoins can continue. To see that Bitcoin dominance go down before it goes back up, at least in the short term. But in the short term, anything's possible. That's all for today, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye bye.